Battlefront, Battlefront, Battlefront. What is up, everybody? Ninja Nick here with 420 Gamer TV, bringing you a video that has been long awaited. And no, I'm not playing Battlefront. If you've actually read the title of the video, then you know that not only me, but a whole group of we want a new Star Wars RPG. Now, I have heard that DICE and a few other companies are actually coming together and actually are actively working on a new Star Wars RPG style game. And technically, it was supposed to be released sometime last year or whatever, but then DICE or EA or someone bought out another company, and now they're technically all one massive, huge company. And I'm hoping EA works on this because they make great games. Honestly, they do. DICE does too, especially after Battlefront 2. It was a really great game. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, who remembers the last great Star Wars RPGs? There's two, and they're both based in the Old Republic. Now, I believe that they should do another one, right, based in the Old Republic. Now, I think this should probably be sometime maybe before Revan, maybe sometime after Revan, or maybe, just what they could do is put this in like one of the lost sectors, right, of space. You're a force wielder who doesn't know what force wielders are, or maybe in this other section of lost space, right? They actually have force users, but they're just not called Jedi or Sith. Maybe there'll be a different name, or they'll use the Jedi name or something like that. You know what I mean? The originality of it. Maybe that's the way they should go. I mean, I would love to actually see a Star Wars game that brings back, like, literally goes back to the original canon stuff, meaning like before Revan and Malak, before all of that, before like when everything started happening, when force wielders used to use actual swords, not lightsabers and shit. Now don't get me wrong, I love lightsabers. But what if that's what they put you, maybe that's where they'll put you in, to the point to where, like, lightsabers are now being built, or beforehand, and you're learning training. Either way, any way they do this, it would be a great idea for them to make a character to where you can build your character up, whether you want to be a Sith Lord, a Jedi Master, and or maybe even a Gray Jedi, or maybe just a Gray, because technically they're not Jedi. A Force wielder who uses both sides of the Force is not a Jedi, because Jedi would see a Gray Jedi as, a Sith or a Dark Jedi. That's the way they'd see it. And I also find that terminology, Dark Jedi, just, stupid. I'm sorry to say, but Jedi are specific kind of people. When you go from being that to being evil, or using your powers for evil, that turns you into a Sith. Now, yes, there were Jedi who actually decided to say, yeah, no, I don't want to stand by this ideology because it's too narrow. I want to start viewing other things. They should have created a new name for that instead of Dark Jedi or Gray Jedi. They should have, like, literally came up with a whole new different name, in my opinion. But I'm kind of getting off topic. But what I would actually like to see, right, in this game is weapon customizations, whether they do lightsabers or not, but weapon customizations, right? And like if they do like lightsabers, I'd like to see more colors. I'd like to see more customization when it comes to like the way your lightsaber looks. Whether maybe you'll have a dual-bladed lightsaber, staff style, and maybe you have it ornamented in a certain way, like Mace Windu's was, or the Emperor, with that cool gold inlay. Armor, it'd be awesome to be able to like customize the armor you wear, other than just wearing armor. It'd be awesome to be able to actually like choose the color and maybe a design type. Of course, templates that they would create would be awesome. Um, Not to mention being able to mix and match different armor pieces. So like if you want to be like a Jedi, right? But yet you want some decent like actual like decent defense and protection other than okay, I'm gonna wear Jedi robes and go around everywhere with Jedi robes and have like practically zero defense. But great force powers. There should be like quite honestly there should be armor in the game for force wielders, meaning it either does not mess with your force powers or it might amplify a specific type of force power, meaning like the type that you're wearing will amplify dark Jedi or Sith style abilities like force lightning, force choke, fear, shit like that, and or ones that benefit and buff the light side, such as healing or speed, or well, technically the force field wouldn't really matter. That's more of like a both side kind of like thing, but you know what I mean. And also like a mixture of one that like wouldn't like do a massive buff, but kind of like allows like okay, this would be good for anyone who wants to have a gray Jedi, right? But or a gray would be armor that doesn't negatively affect or outwardly affect your force powers, meaning like one won't be stronger than the other or one won't be like dwindled down because another one's buffed out. It's more of balanced, such as like you're able to use both sides of the force without one taking more of your force power than the other. See what I mean? That would be perfect for like a gray Jedi. Now of course being able to customize your armor, such as like maybe putting certain things on the slots that would maybe also add in another buff, like maybe a certain defense buff, speed buff, like whether it's like moving around, movement speed, or attack speed, something like that. Also, that would be awesome to be able to add on to your lightsaber and or your vibroblade or your blasters, because I mean this RPG game they should make it to where like if you want to be a guy who starts out with blasters but then finds out that you're a force wielder and you have the availability of using force powers, it'd be pretty cool to be able to use a blaster and a lightsaber at the same time and just customize your character from that to where at one time you're doing lightsaber swings and stuff like that, and then another second you're like coming in with a combo to a blaster to the face. Come on, that'd be pretty badass, right? And then let's say if blasters and lightsaber ain't working, bam, now you're pulling out your force powers. That would be a great fucking awesome kind of game. Honestly, it would. Now, also, I would like to see, because if anyone has played Old Republic, they know that the Ebon Hawk was in it. Now, I would actually like to be able to have maybe a customized kind of ship. Maybe, of course, it starts out, plain, looking like pretty much like crap, how people talk about the Ebon Hawk or, the Millennium Falcon, something like that, right? Some similar to what both of them look like, but like being able to choose what kind of pieces you put onto it, whether it be like better cannons, better jets, engines, hyperdrives, shielding, color the ship, stuff like that would be awesome to see on there. And also having the availability of actually being able to combine certain kind of force powers to like amplify or make them better, much like how in the Force Awakening, how Starkiller was able to combine a force field with force lightning and be able to do massive amounts of damage, or combine force push with God, what was that other ability? Well, he did it with force lightning too. But being able to do that would be an awesome availability to Star Wars. Now, one thing I don't want this game to turn into is an MMO. Honestly, I hope to God they don't do an MMO style. I'll be pissed if they do. Because if they do an MMO, it ain't gonna be fun, in my opinion, because it's not gonna be based around you. It's gonna be based around everybody. And then, you're gonna have to hope and pray that you can find other people to play with, because then if it's an MMO, the story's gonna lack, which means there could be like no story to it at all, and or very little, and it's gonna be very lackluster. Fuck that. If they're gonna do an MMO, wait until like 2020, 2025 to do an MMO of this, because it's been too fucking long since we've actually had a decent Star Wars game, and I do not want an MMO to ruin Star Wars. Fuck that. We don't need so many multiplayer games to the point to where every RPG has to be multiplayer. Fuck that. I like multiplayer, and there's certain games that would work as multiplayer. There would. Now, yeah, would a Star Wars MMO be a great game? Yes, but at the same time, you'd have to have other friends to play with and roll around with to actually enjoy yourself. That's the problem. I don't want a Star Wars game like that right now. I want an Old Republic style game to where you you have your force abilities, you have your allies that you meet out in space, doing your missions and going to the planets you're going to, and you're accumulating these people like you did in the last two games. But when Old Republic 1 and 2 were done, that's how it was. And those were done on Xbox. We have not seen a good Star Wars game that massively great in a very long time, except for the Old Republic that actually came out after that, but was strictly on PC. Fuck you. They should not have done that. But honestly, it would be better to actually see something like that. I mean, I would really like to actually be able to see a place where you're in a whole new area. Like there was a Mandalorian actual Jedi. How awesome would it be to be able to create a character who's Mandalorian, and you find out you are a Jedi or have Force powers in general, and you're able to be a Force wielder? Holy God, that'd be awesome. And or what if you're one of many other races? Because that's the one thing about Star Wars that I kind of disliked when they did Old Republic 1 and 2. You weren't able to choose different races other than you're just human. You had, roles and stuff like that, like scout, warrior, yada, 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 yada. Okay, but you didn't have different races. I want to have different races. I want to have certain kind of things that you can choose from, like such as a scout or warrior, or technically a soldier, not warrior, diplomat, whatever. Certain things that will give you better benefits when you start out, such as maybe speechcraft or hand to hand melee blasters, whatever. And then from there you build your character up like you did in the first Star Wars Old Republic. In the second Star Wars Old Republic, you were already a Jedi. You already knew you were a Jedi, and you're just going through, which was also still a fun game. So I'm literally hoping with this new one that they're developing right now. And all you have to do is look up Star Wars RPG, and trust me, you will find all sorts of stuff. But look for the most recent, because lots of the older stuff, especially from months back, so much has changed since then, especially between certain gaming companies being bought out to the point to where now that 3 gaming companies are now one massive company. And they're all ones who've worked on Uncharted, Battlefront 1 and 2, and some of the older games as well. So those 3 companies who actually now are all pretty much culminated into one would be a great thing for if they actually choose. And one massive hope I have is they actually stick to somewhat of the traditional Star Wars story. They can go ahead and fast forward it. They can go ahead and put it way in the past. Either way, I would like to see a Star Wars game. And the best way for it to work is if it's not in Old Republic space or New Republic space or current Star Wars space, but the space that everyone has been talking about that no one has technically explored, where the Ujan Vong are. I would love for them to be the massive people, the massive oh God, what would it be? Antagonizers or whatever. They'd be the big bad bosses that you fight, that you're building up for, because you're hearing about these people who are invading places with asteroids that are actually not asteroids, because you heard about them not only in 1 and 2 of Old Republic, but they're all over Star Wars universe, all over canon and non-canon. So being able to see the Ujan Vong inside of the next Star Wars RPG game, and them being the main people that you fight against, they're the big bad boss. But not only them, but let's say there's a Sith group or whatever that's out there exploring and searching, as well as a Jedi group, and then whichever side you align with, whether it be Sith or Jedi, and or you go your own route because you want to be a a gray and you want to like dabble in both sides of the Force, then there you go. And then you can actually gain allies on both sides and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We need to culminate. We need to come together. We need to fight these. And then boom. That'd be an awesome game, wouldn't it? But I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope everyone thinks that, like, my ideas are great ideas. And I hope lots of these ideas and stuff that I've actually brought up, I do see in the next Star Wars game. So I hope everyone has a great day, great night, great evening, all that great shit. Take it easy. Later, guys.